In recent weeks, Ford's inventory has been growing at an alarming rate, whether it's trucks, SUVs, HD vehicles, and even commercial vehicles. Ford's been struggling with quality challenges where F-150's 2014 models year, sudden downshifts. We're talking about some of the fuel injector issues in the 1.5 liter turbos, and they're currently crowned king of recalls, battling for top spot with Stellantis. Ford has struggled in the last couple of years trying to find that sweet spot, trying to price their vehicles so they'll sell, trying to move them along because the CEO is starting to respond. Things are getting crazy. They're looking at pay cuts right now for senior managers, as well as their production halting on certain models. And while some dealers are trying to figure out how to sell their vehicles, many are investing in small vehicles like the Mavericks, the Rangers, even base trim level F-150s, and then other dealers are trying to take a long shot, a Hail Mary, and hope that they can sell these high trim level vehicles like these Harley-Davidson full-size trucks here with jacked up all kinds of decals, logos, large wheels, lift kits. I can't imagine how many people you're going to probably sell these vehicles to. What does the market look like? We hear the cost of living crisis is eating people alive, and yet we're seeing big inventory of vehicles like these Harley-Davidsons piling up on lots. Who's buying these vehicles? Sure, they look great, but who can afford it? The once affordable vehicle that Ford was supposed to answer for consumers was the Maverick. Right here, it's all-wheel drive, and it has some basic amenities. This one here doesn't come with a rear slider. You don't get a sunroof on there, and it's basically cloth and fabric and plastic galore inside of these vehicles. They're meant for basic. This is an XLT, so it's a mid-level trim. And how much are these going for? Well, an XLT right here with the 2 liter comes at a whopping $43,000 right there. These were supposed to come out at 20s, maybe 30s, but clearly now we're seeing them up in the 40s and even over 50 for the Lariat version. And with sales of the F-150 sliding year over year over year, even though they are selling, and they're selling very well relative to all the other manufacturers like Stellantis, GM and Ford right now are collectively selling a significant amount of pickup trucks, as well as what we're seeing is the Maverick are keeping the brand together. What's not? Who's not pulling their weight? Well, Ford Mustang Mach E is one of those vehicles that has never really sold particularly well, and I'm seeing lots of these online. I'm still seeing 2022 model years, brand new, still with plastic on the seats that are not selling, and they're being advertised for close to sticker price, but they're not selling. Why are dealers not trying to push these products? Well, first of all, there's limitations. Ford lost money on the production of every single one of these electric vehicles, and that's part of the issue. The OEMs can't pass those savings down to the dealer to slash prices aggressively. With that said, the Mustang Mach E is competing directly with the Tesla Model Y, and granted, while some of these are selling and you'll find the other one cruising around on the streets, the overall expectation from Ford was that this was going to sell a lot better than it is, and it's just falling on its face. And while Ford has had success with some of their F-Series vehicles, vehicles like this are clearly going to be much harder to sell. We're looking at a fully stretched out F350, as we'll notice this is a Platinum edition, and he features the 6.7 liter turbo diesel. How much is this vehicle? Well, it comes at a significant cost. How about $125,000, 540 bucks? Wow, that is a significant amount of money. But they're not the only ones not selling particularly well. We're seeing these full-size Harley-Davidsons aren't selling well either. They're just simply too much money. But there's another F-Series vehicle that's not selling, and that's a big part of the problem, where the CEO is finally screaming and trying to make some drastic changes to motivate both the quality on their vehicles, the local dealership handling and the service, as well as improve sales. They're taking slices right off the bottom line of local managers. While the regular F-150 has been selling fairly well, what hasn't been selling well at all is the F-150 Lightning, and we know that's been going on for quite some time. We're dealing with a plug-in. Yes, that's right, pure EV, and not a lot of people who are traditionalists of the brand are looking at buying an electric pickup truck. Clearly, with the range of the Lightning, even with some huge aggressive price cuts on the F-150 Lightning, a lot of customers still refuse to buy this type of vehicle. And as a result, the CEO is trying to take some strong action, big action. In other words, they've already applied drastic reductions from the factory on a lot of these vehicles on the base model. The 2025 model year of the base was actually down $7,215 from 2024. And as well, Ford plans to actually shut down production from November 15th to January 6th, 2025, just to let the inventory build up again because they're not selling, they're not moving the product line quick enough. And even though Ford sold over 550,000 F-Series trucks till September of 2024, that still shows a weak demand, a relatively soft market for a lot of these full-size trucks. And the F-150 Lightning is at the bottom, barely selling any models. And during that time, about 730 workers who currently reside at the Rouge plant that manufactured the F-150 Lightning are likely to be furloughed due to this break in the action, and therefore these workers have to do something. To make matters worse, the CEO of Ford has admitted that he's been driving around an electric manufactured vehicle, something that was built from China, that was direct competition for Ford in China, and has admitted openly that the product is way ahead and that we have a lot of ground to make up as a North American domestic manufacturer, come even close to competing with the likes from what we're seeing over in China. And looking at some prices here related to the F-150 Lightning, we've seen some big price adjustments. The base Pro model dropped from $57,090 down to $49,875, while the XLT, Flash, and Lariat models saw price cuts of $2,000, $5,500 and $2,500 respectively. There's been absolutely a demolishing of the pricing of a lot of these F-150 Lightnings. But on top of it, the F-150 ICE vehicles haven't been selling remarkably well. They've been holding their own, but again, year over year, they've been declining. F-150s, the GM products, of course, GM, GMC, as well as Chevy pickup trucks have all been doing relatively well, relative, of course, to Stellantis, but sales have been dropping year over year. Now, on top of it, Ford's having to apply a significant amount of budget towards fixing a lot of these recalls that are outstanding, because we know that Ford's one of the recall kings and they have to fix what's currently broken. That's mandated by the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration just to keep people safely driving down the road. And the CEO, Jim Farley, has said now they're going to start applying some of these performance metrics. They're looking at improving quality, the speed of reaction, service, and lowering costs, which could reduce bonuses to the managers down to 65% of what they've been accustomed to. So the cost of living crisis is finally catching up, and we're seeing it all over the industry. The worst part is this whole electric vehicle mandate that's coming down fast and furious, whether we have to be converted by 2025, 2030. There's all kinds of mandates depending on which country. The bottom line is this mandate to push out a lot of these electric vehicles are forcing these OEMs, and Ford inclusive, to quickly develop, research, and test a lot of these new products that have to make it out to market. The worst part is, while a lot of people decline to buy a lot of these electric vehicles, a lot of people actually refuse to outright buy those and say, I'm only buying internal combustion vehicles. Those shoppers electing to buy the ICE or internal combustion vehicles are doing so by literally supporting the EV initiative. Because as we've said, to build these electric vehicles, Ford claims they're losing a pile of money on the manufacturing of every one of these. While they're seeing improved sales on a lot of their HD vehicles, to manufacture these, they have to pay for that somehow. The increased battery costs, the electric motors and battery costs money, the research, development, the testing costs money. So now, for those looking to buy the internal combustion vehicles like these F-150s, F-250s, everything that is gas and diesel today is going in. That money is coming from one hand, giving it to another hand. So even if you're not buying an electric vehicle, buying an internal combustion vehicle like this, you're seeing a tag on the window that's higher these days than it was 4 or 5 years ago, strictly because those costs and those profits are going to build those electric vehicles. And often in the corporate world, when you start slashing bonuses, next goes wages, then goes workers, and next thing you know, you're closing plants. Does that sound familiar? Stellantis come to mind? Yes, that's what starts to happen. They go all in, and we already know the competition is fierce. The chicken tax is one of the few things left holding the door closed from the Chinese market. Of course, depending on the government who's running, US, Canada governments are going to have an impact on the types of tariffs that are applied to the Chinese vehicles. But without getting political, the bottom line is, if the competition builds a better vehicle for less money and it's open door with no taxation to the consumer, guess what they're going to buy? And that's where it leaves brands like Ford as we transition into this mandate of electrification, that you're likely seeing more struggles. over the next 6 months, over the next year, you're going to see more and more problems by all of the big three, GM, Ford, as well as Stellantis. As they try this transition, they try to move over into that electric vehicle market. They know they're going to have to be more competitive, and clearly their current corporate structure doesn't allow them to even come near to competing with the likes from China. Let me know what you think right there in the comments section, but on top of it, you're definitely going to want to check out that. A lot more interesting news. Hope to see each and every one in the next one. See you real soon. Bye-bye.